Hello YouTube, this is my second experiment in C# and .NET Lab, which is on operator overloading. So I have to design and develop a main-driven application for complex numbers, and I have to use two classes where I will be declaring an integer and adding an instance for complex number constructor, and overloader constructor add a display function which displays the data member, and in complex number I'll be adding the number objects as data members to represent the real and imaginary part of the complex number, and I'll be instantiating the constructor and overloader constructors, and I have to do certain tasks like adding, subtracting, and to display it using a display function. And finally I have certain conversions like complex number to into complex number object to number object, and vice versa. So let's have a look on our code. This is my code, and the code starts with the main program always. So start explaining from the main program itself. Here I have used certain delegate keywords which I will be explaining in the next experiment, since the next experiment is of delegates, since both experiments are of based on complex numbers. So I will use it. So in this experiment I will be dealing completely with operator overloading and explaining the concept too. So here I have created a variable for complex number cm and cn3, and I'll be entering my first complex number, and I'll be passing it to int, that is w and x. These are the two complex number, and I have created instantiated an object for complex number, that is cm1. And coming to the main part, these are the operations I'm doing on complex number: subtract, and this array of delegate. This is for the next experiment. So here we completely deal for operator overloading. This is my class complex number, which inherited from display class, and display class is I have given in interface display, in which I have declared a function void display for displaying functions. These are the two variables for real and imaginary numbers, and I have created an empty constructors which will initiate my real value to 0 and image value to 0, and I have one parameter value constructor int x, where real value will be equal to x and image will be equal to 0. I have used two variable also, where real is equal to x and image is equal to y. I have given my complex number object to this parameter of complex number constructor, where real value will be equal to x dot real and image value is equal to x dot image. So in my display image I will displaying my real and imaginary both parts using real plus iota image. So this is the part where I am doing my operator overloading. So this is the syntax for it. I have to mention my access specifier. I have to use statics. This is the name of the class complex number, and I have to always use my operator keyword, then followed by which operator you're overloading, like plus, minus, and these are the parameters which I'm passing through it. A complex number c1, these are the two objects c1 and c2. Then I created another object tc for complex number, and using this tc I'll be adding both my real numbers for addition, like c1 plus real plus c2 plus real. It will add two corresponding real numbers and store it in tc.real. Similarly, that is the case for image too, and it will finally return combined tc, that is tc.real and tc.image. It is the same case for passing an object as parameter and integer as parameter, and finally returning a tc object. And the same thing for minus also. First of all, specifying the access specifier, that is public, then static, then this is my class name, that is the return type, and followed by the keyword operator, and mentioning my operator sign, that is minus, and this is my first passing an object, then c1 object, then c2, then performing the subsequent operations for -2 real minus real part, storing it in tc.real, and finally returning my tc object. It will return both my tc.real and tc.image. And for my boolean operator like equal to and not equal to, so for such operators we have to overload its pair. It comes in pairs, so equal to and not equal to both comes in pairs, so I have to overload both those operators. So for this also I have to use my access specifier public static. I have to use my keyword as bool operator keyword followed by my operator sign equal to followed by those parameters. So I will checking my conditions as c1.image is equal to c2.image. If my corresponding value matches and my corresponding real number also, real part also matches, I will return it as true. Else my return value is false, since my return value is bool, so I have to return it in either true or false. Since it always comes in pairs, so I have to overload my not equal to also. So public static boolean also, here also I will implement the same, in which not equal to of the second image part and not equal to of the second real part, it will return true, else it will return true. And finally I have to convert it to string, since this value is of integer, so I have to convert it to string. So for this condition to exist, I have to have my image value to be greater than equal to 0. So in that case my return value, it will return real plus image iota, else real plus image iota for less than 0. So let's run the program. I'm running it and giving my first real part as 2 and my imaginary part as 3. So this is my displaying my result as 2 plus 3 iota. Enter the second complex number, giving my real part as 4 and my second imaginary part as 5. So it will be displaying as 4 plus 5 iota. So I got 2-3 options for considering only the operator case and not the delegates. So if I press 1 for adding 2 complex number, it will say after adding 6 plus 8 iota, and if I press 2 for subtracting 2 complex number, it will say -2 minus 2 iota. So this was my second experiment based on overloading. Thank you for watching my video.